All right, I've got some lights set up here. I have kind of a, I don't know what you'd call it, a IKEA bedside table sort of light on my face here. And then behind me, I have most of my lights in a blue, especially in the ceiling and kind of the backlight, and then some gradients in pink. And then my wife painted me some palm trees on the wall, so we're kind of going for a sunset on the beach kind of look here. Let me know how I did. I'm not really sure, don't know anything about lighting, so looking for your feedback on that. Let's get into a vision update. From a black background, two teal canes crossing behind a pink atom flicker on in neon light. To the right, white words stack vertically, blind over matter. The words and logo fade to black. It has taken a little bit longer than I would have liked for things to get moving again, but as some of you may know, I had a cataract surgery back in March of this year, and that surgery was fairly successful, and actually at first I was very overwhelmed by kind of the vision I was able to get back. There was kind of a big shift to what I was able to see, and some more light and detail coming into my vision. And then that started to kind of taper off, and I never heard back about setting up some follow-up stuff. And where I essentially landed is that my vision is today about the same as it was before I went into surgery. And so to me, I kind of said, well, nothing gained, nothing lost. Like I, have talked about in previous videos, I don't and didn't, I tried to say those two words at the same time. I don't want to lose the vision that I have if I can avoid it, but I also was okay with doing a surgery if there was, minimal risk and it made sense, and the cataract surgery was very successful. And I want to talk a little bit today about what happened since that surgery. And so if you don't like eyeball things, if that freaks you out, this may not be the video for you. I tend to be very open about these experiences because number one, it's just what I'm experiencing. I don't think it's like a positive or a negative thing. It's just reality. But also for other people who may be going through something similar, I want you to have someone that you can hopefully turn to give you kind of an honest look at this experience. And I'm going to do my best to talk through actually a little bit of everything, because I learned some things about my own early ophthalmological journey, if you want to put it that way, today. That I didn't know, and if there's interest, I want to look and see if I can actually get my images so that you could literally look inside behind my eyes and look at like my retina and stuff. Some people, I know that's not your thing, so I'm not going to do that today, but if there's interest in actually me like showing and talking about what I do understand about my images, I'm very keen on the idea and I'm very willing to do it, so let me know what you think about that. So we're going to tell a little bit of a story here of my, medical journey as far as my eyes went. And some of you have seen some of this before on the channel, so I'll try to give you the TLDR. I was born at 26 weeks. You're supposed to be born at 40 weeks. So if you're good at math, that's awesome. I'm not. I was too early, right? That's what you're supposed to get out of that. I was 1 pound and 14 ounces when I was born. So I was fairly small. And that's just the way that things were, I suppose. And as such, I was put in an incubator. And that incubator had a warm environment and enough, humidity in the air. I don't know why I said that in a weird emphasis. Humidity, not humidity, it's humidity. Anywho, so there was enough humidity, and oxygen ended up actually being the problem. They put too much oxygen in the incubator. And so when your blood vessels receive oxygen, they grow because your blood likes oxygen. Someone who knows medical stuff can explain this better than me. But the blood vessels behind my eyes got bigger, and I'm kind of making that motion with my fingers. They got increasingly round, and then they basically popped. And so when that happened, my retina detached in several places. And the way that I explain this to people is if you think of your vision as a movie screen, right? Your movie screen is like those old projectors that used to be in a classroom that are those big canvas, very strong. It's a very robust screen, right? And the square that projector forms then receives the projection of, well, the projector, right? And that's what your vision essentially is it's your eyes receiving light, reflecting it back onto your retina, and that reflection bounces off your retina, that screen, and your brain and your brain stuff interprets that. Actually, fun fact, everything we look at is upside down, and your brain flips it. So you're welcome for that existential crisis. But my retina detached in several places, and so my movie screen, instead of being that nice canvas projector that used to hang at the front of a classroom, mine is tissue paper. And someone came and hung that nice tissue paper screen up. And initially, everyone thought we were okay, right? The projector worked all right. But when those blood vessels got too large, someone came and basically took like a 10-gallon bucket of just water and hurled it just full force right at that movie screen. And what happened is it tore in several places. And so my retina has always been torn in several places. And I had surgeries when I was younger. And the way it was explained to me is that I basically had rubber bands kind of placed on my retina. They're called scleral buckles. And I actually still have them. And in some of the images, if I can bring those up down the road, you can see kind of where they are. And it's really interesting because they're still there. I had that surgery almost 30 years ago, so I didn't know that was a thing. So I have these scleral buckles that got put onto my retina, and the thing that I learned today is, in addition to those buckles, there was surgery done to actually freeze the retina, and this is a little funky to think about. So for some people, I skip ahead by like 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this, okay? All right, those people are gone. So what they did is they intentionally froze my retina to negative 80 degrees, which is really cold. And that basically tightened up the retina and allowed it to pull taut and be really, smooth and attached. So that's what I learned that happened today. And I actually could see some of the scarring from where that specific type of surgery was done, which is really interesting to me. And so the ROP, the retinopathy of prematurity, which is my root condition that all of that is called. So it's called, retinopathy, so it has to do with your retina of prematurity. So it's so general that it's basically the result of any problems with the retina that happen when you are born prematurely. And so that's my root condition. And a lot of people with ROP, that's what we all call it, and that's what I'm going to call it going forward because it's a lot easier to say. So a lot of people with ROP end up developing other eye conditions other than the ones that they are born with, and that has certainly been the case for me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of the other conditions that I have and what they mean. The first one, and the one that you probably visually can see throughout my videos, is called nystagmus. And that basically means my eyes, they bobble around, they move. And so if I'm focusing on something, such as a camera for taking medical imaging, for example, my eyes bobble all over the place. And I had to get imaging done today, and they had to take many, many, many images because my eyes move without my control. And so trying to stop them in exactly the right place to get the image that they need is not doable. So I joke that it's kind of like a QTE or QuickTime event in a video game where you have to try to stop that image right at the right spot to capture, the data that they need. So it's kind of fun. So that's nystagmus. So my eyes bobble. That's kind of the most innocuous. Doesn't really result in any visual changes. But you may see it on video, if that makes sense, because my eyes move. Now, the second one, if we're going from, least effective to next least effective, is called keratoconus. And if you've ever seen a contact lens, it's kind of a dome-shaped lens that you put over your eyes so you can see better. So you actually have a lens already on the front of your eye. We're going to get into more of that in a moment. But mine, instead of being this nice rounded dome shape, it's keratoconus, because my cornea and that lens is kind of cone shaped. And so it has kind of a protrusion instead of being a nice rounded dome. It's sort of like a dome with a little wizard hat on top. And that wizard hat is not supposed to be there. The other image that I think of is what people call the boob lights, right? With the little thing on the bottom of them. That little thing is the funky shape of my cornea. So I've got that. It's more significant in my right eye than my left, but I believe it's present in both. I could be incorrect, but I know for sure it's in my right eye because I've had issues with that. So we have the ROP, right, the retinopathy of prematurity, the nystagmus, so the bobbling eyes, the keratoconus, the funny-shaped corneas. Next one is glaucoma. And glaucoma, again, layman's explanation, because this is just my, keen idiot's lived experience guide, is pressure that happens in your eye. And so everyone has some pressure in your eye because that's how your eye works. But if that pressure gets too high, it can be very, very painful. A lot of people with diabetes end up getting a diabetic form of glaucoma, but it's also a fairly common condition in the blind and visually impaired community. So I have glaucoma, I have for quite a while, and I actually, again, skip ahead by 30 seconds. If you don't like eyeball things, I will be very brief. All right, are they gone? So I had 2 small holes or valves, one put into each eye to allow for that pressure to go somewhere. And so they used a laser and went zzz, zzz. It was a lot more painful than that, and I never want to do it again. But those little valves have allowed that pressure to escape. So essentially for me, the glaucoma has been very stable. So I'm very lucky there. Now, let's try it again. Retinopathy of prematurity, so the retina stuff. Nystagmus, the bobbling eyes. Keratoconus, the funky shaped corneas. And glaucoma, the eye pressure. One more for you. Cataracts. So cataracts are probably one of the most common causes of visual impairment. I don't have data to back that up right now, but that's kind of what they are. And cataracts are essentially a buildup of, I think it's calcium, if I'm remembering correctly, over the lens of your eye. And so what happens is that a film basically builds over the lens of your eye, and it kind of causes like an occlusion or a blurring. So if we go back to our overhead projector example, if you got like 5 of those overhead projection sheets, but they were all dusty, and then you put a picture of, we'll say, a smiley face, right, with the 2 eyes and a nose and a mouth, and then you put those dusty pictures, those 5 dusty filters over the smiley face, you could still maybe make out that it was a smiley face, but it would be kind of undefined and weird because of the dustiness. That's kind of what happens with cataracts, is it occludes your eye, and that film kind of builds up, and they're progressive, so they tend to grow. They tend to get worse over time. So, do one more run through. We got ROP, the retinopathy of prematurity, nystagmus, the bobbling eyes. We have the keratoconus, the funky shaped cornea. We have the glaucoma, the eye pressure. See, I'm having to keep track of them too. And we have the cataracts. So all of these things are existing in my head right here all at the same time, which is pretty wild. And I had a surgery to address the cataracts. And they went in to my left eye, so this eye, and they basically went in with a laser and blew up the cornea. Okay, they didn't. That's that's not right. They went in and blew up the cataract. after I like concisely explain this all, and then mess it up. But I'm leaving it in. It's fine. So they went in and the cataract was obliterated. It was gone. And they actually had to replace the entire lens of my eye. So I no longer have a human lens in this eye. I have a fake lens that is sort of like a, what did they say that it was made of? I don't remember, but it's like plastic, essentially. And what happened after this surgery is that for a while, I got a lot more light and a little bit more detail, and it was very, very overwhelming for me. For like 2 or 3 weeks, I got headaches, and I like was really struggling to, like, I don't know, figure out how to see with these changes. It was cool, but it was very weird, and I don't think I really adjusted because I couldn't. And the reason why is very interesting. So in about 20% of cases, when people get these lenses replaced, what happens to me happens. And what happens to me is that a very, very small little second army of cataract cells mobilized and grew over the top of the lens. So they're not growing over the lens of my eye that is the human lens. They're now growing over the plastic lens. And it's apparently only, and I don't know anything about sciencey stuff, but what the doctor told me today was they are 4 microns thick. I'm assuming that means very, very super tiny. But it's enough to essentially knock my vision back to the Stone Age, right, to pre-surgery levels. And so I'm going to get, hopefully soon, another surgery. And this time they're going to take another laser and they're going to blow up my cornea. No, I'm kidding. I had to bring that back. So they're going to basically destroy that very small layer of cells permanently this time and really make sure that that lens is clear. And because they will be gone, that they will be destroyed by the laser, I will be free of the cataract, like completely. And so that should allow me to gain those new, light and detail bonus points that I got post cataract surgery. I'm not holding my breath. I had one of my favorite teachers growing up said never believe anything until the day after it happens and it's confirmed by an outside source. So that's what we're going to do. That is the really long-winded version of the vision update. And the reason that I wanted to put it in this form is because I don't think that there is enough brutal honesty and, real talk about eye surgery and blind people. And I want to be that space even if it's awkward and I make mistakes, because I think as a community we need to talk about these things. And I hope this was interesting. Let me know if you're interested in me digging up some images, if I could do it. And if I can't, I will email my doctor and ask her, because I think it's something that could be kind of fun to explore. So let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you for checking things out. I'm sorry I haven't been uploading at all. There's a lot going on. I swear someday I'm gonna write a book. That's another conversation for another day. But I really appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. If you have any questions, comments, queries, theories, concerns, or anything else, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment section below. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you soon. Peace.